I went in for a routine dental checkup. Here we go. I just, decided to make an appointment to go and get a dental, checkup, routine cleaning or whatever evaluation. I filled out the form and all that, put down, my conditions. I was never questioned about my overall health, what surgeries I've had in the past, even though I listed them. I listed that, I have a mechanical valve. I just assumed that I didn't, need antibiotics for a routine cleaning. That's what led up to, the problems that I had afterwards, developing endocarditis. I had an aortic valve that was replaced a few years prior. So the endocarditis attacked that valve, and basically how my heart surgeon put it is my valve was hanging on by a thread. Vegetation grew on it and chewed up my valve. And I needed repeat open heart surgery.
When I first got home and I saw him, the color that it was a shade of gray. I can't even explain it. He just looks like he was going to pass away. He was that severe.
It all could have been avoided. If I was properly medicated, this would have never happened. When I realized what happened, things needed to be looked into. I reached out to Frank Gaudio and Associates to look into my case.
The damage that was done to Mr. Poggio included damage to his heart, as well as damage to the aortic valve itself. What it required was a replacement of the aortic valve and also the rehabilitation and dealing with the damage to the heart muscle that occurred. Again, it wasn't just an issue of a temporary insult to him. This is a lifelong insult that has occurred with lifelong damages.
Our experience with Frank was amazing. He was professional, courteous. He had all the time in the world for us. Whenever we made a phone call to him, if he was on a call, he'd call us back. He never really delayed in anything. We were always up to date on everything. He walked us through the entire process, and it was seamless and smooth. You never felt like your voice wasn't heard. We were always heard no matter what we had to say, whether it was relevant or not relevant to the case. He listened to everything we had to say. And him being so trustworthy and forthcoming about everything, he really made the process so easy for us.
Frank's, he's a good guy. He's like somebody I kind of grew up with, living back in New York. It's like somebody from the block, easy to talk to. Frank really took a burden off our shoulders, and he definitely helped us, through the whole process of this. I trusted Frank 100%.
During the pendency of the action, I always include the client as a member of the team because obviously we can't pursue the case without the client. He's one of the most important members of the team because by virtue of his experience, he will relate to us what he has been through, what effect that had on him personally, what effect that had on his marriage, etc.
So Frank definitely got us justice and, made the dentist accountable for what happened. I would recommend Frank and his firm to anyone that's, has a problem or has a case that they need to look into, because he will listen to you and take into account of what's going on. Frank will treat you like family and go above and beyond.